We welcome you back to the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. He's Rogers, I'm Patrick, and we're pleased as the Netherton Show Coaches Caravan continues, and we head down to Southern, where the Jags are coming off of a terrific season and should be a heck of a lot of fun this year as well, as we welcome in interim head coach Jason Rollins. And Rogers, you know everything goes through Natchitoches, right? Absolutely. So, wouldn't you know it, Jason Rollins and I met at Northwestern State back in, 03 was my first year. 04 was his last year, and so it's been a while since Coach and I have talked. But Coach Rollins, how the heck are you, man?
I'm doing well, really well.
Well, it has been a bit. You've kind of been on quite the journey since then. You've coached kind of all around in the area. You went down to UTSA for a bit, then came over to Southern. You've been elevated to the interim role, and let's be honest, need to just take the interim off and let's just go ahead and get this thing going. But yeah,
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, well, that's just that's for me to say. I know you don't get to say that, but kind of tell me about the journey, man, and what's led you to where you are now and on the Bluffs and being able to be the head man for the Jags.
I mean, it's really been just a huge blessing. I mean, just actually going to different places, being around the right people that pour into you and groom you and teach you different things to just lead you to where you are today. So it's just been a blessing. Every stop that I've made, I've learned something from someone, and I've met someone that leads me to the next stop, and which led me all the way around full circle to here.
It's interesting.
University.
Yeah, it's interesting because Southern is one of those. Like Grambling. I think Grambling and Southern are somewhat interchangeable in that they are a very large nationwide brand. It's one thing to be at a SWAC school or an HBCU, but I've got to imagine for you there's a little bit more weight on your shoulders because Southern and Grambling are largely thought of as the two major national brands, so much so that you play on NBC every year. What is that like? Is that sort of a different kind of pressure than anywhere you've been?
Well, it's a Division One. It's like a Division One. It's a FBS feel with it's nationwide. I mean, you have alumnus from coast to coast, north to south, that they're very involved in the program and they follow it, and they're very passionate. So you have a very passionate fan base, and it's a national brand. So it's different in that sense, where a lot of the other schools that I've been to outside of Tulane was regionally based. This school is nationally based with the brand that it has. So that's the difference. But at the end of the day, it's still football, but it's just dealing with people across the nation. You have been in the state, your alma mater, McNeese, Northwestern State. You mentioned Tulane. I've got to imagine that you feel like you have a leg up in that regard coming in because you already know the lay of the land. You already have great existing relationships with all these coaches. Do you feel like you have in some way a leg up as opposed to if Southern had gone out and gotten some guy from, I don't know, North Carolina or something? I've got to imagine you feel like you have a leg up in that regard. Absolutely, without a doubt. Being that Louisiana is a small state, everyone knows everyone, and being in the state for so many years, you built a lot of relationships that are long-standing relationships. A lot of coaches and administrators all throughout, and just community leaders that you went to school with, that you've coached or coached with, it's just unlimited across the state. That being able to coach in the Southeast region, the Southwest region, at Northwestern, you pretty much covered the whole state by just where you've coached and the relationships you built in those communities while you were living there.
Talking to Jason Rollins, the interim head coach of the Jags down at Southern. All right, this is a couple of off-the-field things that we need to get through, and I've been asking all of our coaches about this because they are really massive stories, one being NIL, one being COVID. Tell me about the discussions you have with your team, and I sort of always couch this with, these are men. They can make their own decisions. They're adults. They're responsible for themselves, but at the same time, you are a mentor, a guider, sometimes a father figure, sometimes a disciplinarian. What has your conversations been like with your team regarding COVID, vaccinations, and kind of the need to be safe in this upcoming season, since we don't get the benefit of the doubt anymore. It's not postponements now. Everything's a forfeit.
Right. Well, we were fortunate. Our entire team was vaccinated, 100% vaccinated. So that part is good, but we know that COVID is still ongoing, so we still operate as if you aren't vaccinated. So we mask up inside of our meeting rooms. We mask up on campus in class. We're always staying masked up. We're practicing, good sanitary habits. But it all started with our athletic director, A.D. Banks. He, early on in May, he surrounded us with really good people who gave us facts so that we can make the right decisions based off of facts without any thing going on outside of just speaking facts. So our guys listened, and they all made an effort to go get vaccinated before June, and they did. And it's been great for us on that end. So they embrace it. They know that COVID is not just us. It's worldwide, and we treat COVID as an opponent. So it's just like a game week. So you have to prepare for a game, so you have to prepare for COVID. So you have to defeat COVID in order to defeat that opponent on the field.
That makes perfect sense. Also, the other major off-the-field issue is NIL. Obviously, it's a little different at the FCS level than it is at the FBS level. But as you mentioned, Southern's a nationwide brand, and you've got alums all over the place. Southern has one of the best fan bases that travel with it all over the place. What have you seen in terms of the NIL with your guys? And again, kind of what do you talk to them about in terms of making sure that everything they're doing is by the books?
Well, first, you have to monitor their social media and let them know that everything that they're doing is being watched. So with this NIL, it's your brand. How do you build your brand? How are you marketing yourself? So make sure your social media is clean, making sure how you are perceived when you walk around, how you're dressed, everything, how you're building your brand. So we've had several people to come in and speak to our guys throughout fall camp on their brand and their NIL, how that affects it. But other than that, it's pretty much those guys are really, really smart. So they've been doing this for a long time as far as the NIL, without actually having an NIL, just marketing themselves, just building up their followers. So now they're just building their followers up in a different way.
No, absolutely. I do want to ask you one question just for those in the listening area up here. One of your assistant coaches, LaDarius Washington, Green Oaks kid who we followed and enjoyed watching up here on your staff. Tell me a little bit about how he's doing and kind of give us an update for those of us that have been following his career for so long.
I tell you what, he is he's an amazing coach. The future is extremely bright for LaDarius. He's an excellent person first, a great communicator with young men, an excellent coach. He's been to the highest levels, played in the SEC as well as the Big 12, so he brings a wealth of knowledge of high-level football. Some of his experiences in pro football, the NFL, as far as the UFL, all those different leagues that he's played in, he pours into our guys and lets them know what it takes to get there, not just on the field, also off the field and from a mentality standpoint. So he's just is and life lessons. He has a story, as you all know. His story. So he's able to tell his story and how to apply it, that no matter where you start, you control how you finish.
Talking to Jason Rollins, new Southern head coach. I am curious, Jason, a lot of times you hear a coach come in and take over a program, and there's a lot of, we've got to change this, we got to change the culture, this sort of thing. Dawson Odums left you a really nice program. I mean, it's in a really good shape, and that's obviously why he got hired to move along. What do you feel like your stamp is on Southern? Is it, kind of keeping the level where it's at? Is there something, what do you feel like your stamp on the program is going to be?
First, you're absolutely right with Coach Odums. He's the third all-time winningest coach in Southern history. So, yes, the program is in great shape, and this is Southern. And Southern, they have a standard here at Southern. And our step is to make sure that we know the standard. We want to meet and exceed what the expectations are.
give me some indication now off of a really nice spring season, 5-1. Tell me a little bit about what your expectations are moving in. Looking at the schedule, it's Troy is it's not an unbeatable squad. You didn't you didn't go and put an SEC team on the schedule to start with. Other than that, it's McNeese, who obviously we know is always very good. Your alma mater. This is a very gettable schedule, it seems like. What do you feel like your expectations are?
I mean, our expectations are the same. We play every game. We're going to prepare to win every single game that we play. So that's our expectations. Every game that we play, we're going to go out and fight to compete to win every one. We really don't look at the opponent as far as who they are and what level they're on. We just have to play our brand of football, and playing our brand of football, we should take care of the end result if we prepare how we're supposed to prepare.
I'm curious.
We're excited about having 6 home games.
Yeah,
which is great for our fan base.
No, look, anytime you can get, basically at the FCS level, anytime you have more than 5 home games, you consider it a heck of a fun year to come. I kind of want to step back for just a second and talk about the overall HBCUs, because we're seeing an influx of sort of name former athletes that are taking over. We know about Coach Prime over at Jackson State, Eddie George now taking over at Tennessee State. Does this I feel like this is sort of a double-edged sword here, Jason, where it's good to bring the attention, but also these are guys that don't necessarily have a lot of coaching experience. You're the guy that's been through it. You've grinded through it. Is it good for the leagues because of the exposure? Is it bad because these are guys that haven't necessarily paid their dues, quote unquote, as coaches? Kind of what do you feel like when you see these guys with these sort of names that are taking over at HBCUs?
I don't know. I think all publicity is good publicity as far as just bringing attention to the league, and they're bringing eyes to the conference and to the HBCUs that weren't always focused on these conferences. So it's never a bad thing. And as far as taking opportunities away, I don't see it as that at all. I just see that they had an opportunity, they getting opportunities, and so it's always overall really good thing for the league.
Do you feel like
who hires who they're supposed to hire?
Yeah,
fits their program.
Do you feel like is this sort of a rising tide, lifts all ships? Can you at Southern gain something from Deion Sanders at Jackson State or from Eddie George at Tennessee State?
We can gain from anyone and everyone we play. When you play big games, and they're going to have a spotlight, they have a name, so they're going to bring in a different audience or a new audience to our games and to our conference. It's always a really good thing. We are very appreciative of that.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Your game at Jackson State last year was on big ESPN.
Yes, it was,
as I recall, and a 20-point win, which doesn't hurt anybody's feelings either. Hey, look, if you can serve Coach Prime some humble pie, that doesn't hurt our feelings. That man has plenty enough confidence for all of us. All right, let's talk about your team on the field. Give me some names that you're expecting to pop, some guys that you look at that you're going to rely on this season to come out with some wins.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys on our team, we're a big man-led team, so it all starts up front. Ja'Tari Carter, our offensive tackle, is really he's a really, really good football player, all conference from the spring up front. And just going through the headliners, and we have Jordan Lewis, our defensive end, who Buck Buchanan Award winner, SWAC Defensive Player of the Year, just highly decorated. So we're expecting him to pick up where he left off and climb a little higher. And, everything is led by your quarterback. We have LaDarius Washington coming back at quarterback that's had a really good spring season, just a winner. Anytime you can win a state championship as a high school quarterback, a junior college national championship as a quarterback, and, he's won back-to-back Bayou Classic MVPs. He's just a winner. So we have several of our guys from the spring season that are all conference, and so we're excited about that.
You mentioned Jordan Lewis as the preseason Defensive Player of the Year, won the Buck Buchanan Award. For those that don't know, that's basically the defensive Heisman at the FCS level. It's Defensive Player of the Year at the FCS level. Obviously, he can get after the QB, but what makes him so good? What makes him so effective?
He's so explosive, and you know, he possesses some things that you just can't coach. You know, just athletic ability, height, his weight, his speed, his ability to bend. That's what makes him so special. Can run, he can jump. You know, he's a state champion 100-meter hurdler. So he's just an all-around really good athlete that loves to play football. And his attitude is just very infectious around the team.
I mean, you played 6 games in the spring, and well, technically you played 5 because one was a 2-0 victory, which is what the forfeit is. But basically 5 games, and the dude had 3 tackles for loss a game and 2 sacks a game. I mean, that's some superior numbers, and I've got to imagine as a defensive guy, you have to really enjoy watching a guy like that play.
Absolutely. I mean, you'll catch yourself watching him as opposed to watching the big picture, because every play he has the potential to make a big play, and we expect him to make those plays. So he does it every game, week in and week out, and at the most critical times.
Finally, Coach, just as you're kind of getting settled in, give me some indication of what it's like to be in the big chair, to be the head guy, and know that ultimately you are the one that's making the decisions. Everything that happens is going to be reflective on you, whether good or bad or indifferent. Everything, kind of the buck stops here. Kind of give me some idea of what that's like and sitting in the big chair at a place like Southern.
Well, we have a great staff. We have a great returning staff. Our offensive coordinator is returning. Our defensive coordinator is returning. We had a few additions to the staff, but overall, we have a great staff. So we have a good continuity here. So as far as sitting in a big chair, it's a lot of great minds together that are here. I just happen to sit in the chair, and we all pour into each other.
Hey, I love it, man. Hey, it's been too long since we've caught up, Jason. I'm so glad that you're having success, and I'm definitely looking forward to a big year from you guys down there on the Bluff, and certainly wishing you the best of success. Let's don't go 17 years without catching up next time. All right?
No, we'll have to go and get us a few meat pies, and we'll go from there.
That a baby. That's what I'm talking about. Jason, congrats on the position, and best of luck this year, man.
Thank you so much.
All right. Jason Rollins, head coach of the Southern Jags.